This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to A Sharp Outlook on K4HD Radio and Talk or TV. I am Angela Sharp, your host. Our armchair discussions with industry experts will give you the steps, tools, and information to be successful in business and to prepare you to be your best self. Hello, I'm Angela Sharp, and first up, I want to thank you for joining us. It's Labor Day, and it's a day where we can all say thank you for those who put together plans and ideas and thoughts that helped laborers to have benefits, to have shorter working hours, to have insurance coverage and 401ks and all the different things. And a lot of that came through our unions. Thank you, union members, for fighting for benefits for laborers. So have a wonderful Labor Day. And I hope you are going to really be excited to be on our show today because it affects someone in your family and in your life. Today, we're going to be talking about bullying. Bullying remains a devastating reality for countless children and teens. But what if technology could offer a powerful new defense? AI to combat bullying explores innovative solution to a pervasive problem. Today, I'm going to be speaking with Jessica Toft, the thought leader behind Bully Buddy, and about how artificial intelligence is being used to create safer, more supportive environments for children and teens, discover how this platform is empowering kids, educating bystanders, and changing the future of bullying prevention. In our podcast today, we're going to talk with the creator of Bully Buddy, a revolutionary platform that uses AI to address bullying head on. Learn how Bully Buddy is helping kids cope with bullying. And we all know that that is a problem. That is a major problem in this country and probably around the world. But I know here it is something that is really causing so much fear and anxiety in our children. And we need to look at solutions that are preventing future incidents and fostering a culture of empathy and respect. If you're a parent, educator, or anyone concerned about the well-being of young people, this podcast is a must listen, a must see, and one that you must share. Today, I'm talking to Jessica Toft. Jessica is the visionary CEO and founder of Bully Buddy, an innovative platform that utilizes the power of AI to combat bullying. Driven by a deep commitment to creating safer and more inclusive environments for children and teens, Jessica is changing the way we address bullying. With a background in education, she brings a unique perspective to the challenge, focusing on proactive solutions, support for those affected, and effective prevention strategies. Jessica is a recognized innovator and a passionate advocate for leveraging technology to make a positive impact on mental health and well-being. More importantly, she's passionate advocate for creating a world where every child feels safe, supported, and empowered. Witnessing the devastating impact of bullying firsthand inspired her to create Bully Buddy, a platform that uses the power of AI to proactively combat bullying and foster empathy. She is committed to leveraging technology for good, building a future where young people can thrive without fear, a passionate advocate for mental health and well-being. Jessica is leveraging technology to proactively address this situation of bullying. I would like to invite you, Jessica, to join me so that we can begin this conversation about something that is affecting our children here in this nation and around the world, the bullying and the fear and the intimidation and the manipulation. Something has to be done. And I am so grateful that you are here to tell us that there's hope. And for the teens or the children that happen to be watching, you've got a friend, and it's Bully Buddy. And so we're going to begin, but you brought a guest today. Please, we would like to invite our guest that you brought to join us also. Hello, Ted. How are you doing?
Hi, Angela. I'm doing great. Thank you
Great.
for having us.
Wonderful. Well, tell us a little about yourself before we begin, just having conversation about this. Tell us about you.
Sure. I'm the founder and CEO of Glee Labs. And Glee Labs is an AI native innovation studio and venture studio. We work with founders like Jess who have a strong vision and a desire to make the world a better place and to leverage AI to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been really fun working with Jess and being inspired by her vision and seeing how she really wants to make the world a better place and is looking at innovative ways with AI to power that.
Yes. Well, I happen to learn about Bully Buddy, and I could not do anything but make sure that I let your voices be on A Sharp Outlook. We're always talking about being your best self here on A Sharp Outlook and getting informed. Well, I don't know of any topic more important than trying to combat bullying and coming up with solutions so these children are not feeling so intimidated, scared to go to school, not being able to sit there and study or even learn because of the fact they're afraid of what's going to happen when they leave their classroom. It's just at this point in time in life, we should have grown up and should be doing a lot better than what's happening right now. But thank you, and thank the creator above that enriched you with the knowledge and information to make this happen. So what inspired you to create Bully Buddy?
Well, first of all, thank you, Angela, for having me and having Ted. I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity. Bully Buddy was born, my daughter was being bullied in second grade. My background, I used to teach in early childhood and direct childcare centers. So when I approached the school with the issue that she was coming home every day, telling me what was happening at recess, I was really shocked that they weren't receptive to it, and they weren't willing to do anything, really. They didn't think it was a big deal. They kind of had the kids will be kids mentality. At the same time, she kept coming home, and I began to realize that she wasn't able to understand the social cues that were happening. She thought this game that they were playing with her that didn't feel good and she didn't find fun. She thought it was a game still, and she didn't understand why she was always the one that they were targeting. Mm-hmm. And so I brought her to a therapist, and then we had her assessed, and she was diagnosed as autistic. So I deep dove into autism and what it is. And back then there was a huge stigma around it. And so I wasn't going to let that stigma define my daughter. And I wasn't going to let it continue, the bullying. So I then got a job in the school district working in special education. And I got to learn firsthand from the school's perspective what's going on and where the problem is that they're not able to address such a huge problem that's been going on for a very long time.
Right.
I worked with a fifth grader who is also autistic and has ADHD. And I saw firsthand how subtle the actions were that were taken against him, and how he was provoked, and how things were twisted. And I got a good overall picture of how we could use AI to document and show the patterns of behaviors, and how we could not only help the targeted individual, but we could also help the school and help the parents who are advocating for their children. So we developed, Ted and I, and Gregory, who's not here, we have been working since May to train our AI Bully Buddy to be a support tool for people who are targets of bullying, and also the teachers, the parents, but the bullies. People who bully people are doing it from a place of hurt, and well, they're also doing it from a place of wanting the control and power of the situation. There's a reason that they have gotten to this point in life, and they weren't born this way.
Right.
So if we can support everyone involved, I say, why not? And Ted reached out and offered to help me bring Bully Buddy to life. And I couldn't be more grateful.
Oh, me either. I remember I was a foster mother. Well, when I got them, I was at grandmother age. So I was a foster grandmother for 2 sisters and a brother. And they ended up going to new schools and things like that. And they came in and just said, we can't go back there anymore. I mean, we get called names when we're walking down the hall and just different things like that. I said, oh yeah, you're going back, and I'm going back with you. And I went directly to the principal. I said, I don't know what you do for your job, but let me tell you what my expectation is. And this is not good behavior. And I'm sure you wouldn't want me to make this public to the world, because I will contact every associations out there. I will blast this school. You will lose your funding, and they're going to come after your job. So do you want to help stop this, or do you want me to start writing? Because I don't have a problem. I can. And he's like, well, you're not from here. I absolutely am not, but I'm going to show you how everybody else in the world actually functions. And so you're not going to have my children treated this way, are you? No, I'm going to do it. So he even got on the, what do you call those, intercom system, and told them, we are not going to have bullying. Anybody bullying, you're going to get suspended. So I was like, yeah, that's okay. Because I wasn't having it. I just, they already had been going through experiences in their life. This is why they were in foster care. They needed love. They did not need violence. They didn't need the abuse. They didn't need all of these emotional, traumas they had to go through when they're trying to learn. And so I understand, what's going on in the schools, and I don't know where it all begins, but those children that are doing it, there's something wrong in their lives, and they're just trying to feel empowered, but it's the wrong way to do it. I'm sorry. I don't want to get on a soap opera here. Beyond just wanting to stop bullying, what specific problem are you trying to solve with Bully Buddy that existing solutions weren't addressing? And I think you mentioned it. The schools.
Right. Well, the schools, I mean, it's hard. The bullying isn't done in front of teachers.
Right.
It's done in the hallways. It's done now through social media. It's done when people aren't looking. So to be able to empower the target by giving them a support system that will document and timestamp things as they come, so that you can't question the narrative. It just is black and white. What it is really the key, because teachers I mean, they can only do so much for one little thing here, another little thing here, another little thing here, and it's exhausting for them. They have a lot to do. Teachers don't have an easy job. They have a very challenging job, and to try to discern who is in the right, who is in the wrong, when people are not being honest and truthful isn't really fair to the teachers to put that on them. And not just teachers. I mean, it happens in the workplace. It happens in relationships. It happens in family dynamics. It happens in marriages, in abusive situations. We can combat it at all angles.
Right. Wow. That it's going to cover more than just the children. Then it's going to be dealing with, women in domestic, violence situations and things like that. I'm totally against. I mean, without saying too much, I've experienced some of these things that are occurring. And I just want to say, first off, parents, you know your children. And if you know they're out there bullying and tormenting someone else, I know you want to say kids will be kids. Well, that's not normal child behavior. And so why don't you talk with them and find out what's going on? And I'm going to let the experts, talk with you about that. But parents, somewhere along the line, you have to take some responsibility for the behavior of your children. So think about that. Just think about that, because it does hurt. It really hurts a lot. And some don't recover. Okay, Bully Buddy uses cutting edge technology. What were some of the initial challenges in bringing the idea to life, and how have you been overcoming it?
Well, I would love for Ted to kind of share this, because he's really we've walked hand in hand in this experience, but it's been a learning process, and deciding whether to go with an open AI model or precise AI model, and whether we should be utilizing multiple experts or singular experts. It's been an exciting journey, but Ted has really been instrumental, and Greg too, in the technical end of things.
Yeah, no, it's been a great journey. And one of the challenges that we faced initially is just had a very clear vision about what we needed Bully Buddy to do. And when we looked at the different options for AI, we realized, I think early on, that large language models and large scale AI wouldn't be appropriate for this, because really when a kid is as vulnerable as is in this situation, they really need expert advice. They don't need generalized AI to give the best guess that AI can come up with. And the worst thing would be any level of hallucination or AI making things up and leading a kid down the wrong path. And so right away, we realized instead of leveraging large language models, we would need to take the path of a small, precise language model. And instead of relying on the system to train itself and to use traditional AI training, we would really need experts who were familiar with this problem. And so Jess was incredible in terms of identifying experts and then working with those experts to frame their knowledge such that it could be useful in an AI model. And what we've come up with, I think we sort of exceeded expectations. What the level of participation from the experts who also had a passion for this, and their willingness to be incredibly generous with their frameworks really allowed us to provide a place where the child could speak to the AI, but most importantly, the AI could be empathetic and then actually offer some real solutions and remind the child or who's ever being bullying that their worth comes from within and not from others, and some other principles along those lines. So it's been a remarkable journey, great vision to start with, and then really having AI catch up to that big vision. Oh
yeah, absolutely. And that I work with software. That's what I do. That's my day job. And so I'm, and experimenting with AI and things. And like I said, having more specific knowledge base than just the everything's out there. Because, also know we got a lot of disinformation and a whole bunch of other stuff that's out there too. You don't want to grabbing that kind of information. So that's really wonderful that you just have like this whole, huge team that says, we want this to stop. And that's really important. And I'm just almost in tears because, I see an answer for these children who are like running home from school or don't want to go out to recess because, someone's looking for them, or a wife at home. She's afraid to spend too much money because she comes in the home and who knows what's going to happen to her. There is absolutely no reason for violence or trying to dominate another person. There's just no reason for it. And it doesn't make you a strong man. It doesn't make you a strong woman. In fact, it really does. It demonstrates that you really are the weaker vessel, that you have to go in and tear someone else down to make yourself feel powerful or feel good. Check out some of my podcasts, learn about maybe finding your purpose, finding your vision, finding something that gives you better things to do with your energy and your time and your mind than, challenging and intimidating and, heaven forbid, hitting someone that is smaller than you, that is there because they love you, but you're not demonstrating love. I could just go on and on and on, like I said, because I've been there, done that. Thank God that I was able to get, the therapy that I needed and to be able to realize I am strong. I'm not the experience. I'm someone who survived someone else's weaknesses. And so this is just great. Okay. What are the key features of the Bully Buddy platform? And who are they designed to help? You mentioned a few, but who all is it designed to help?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely designed to, so the power really is in the targeted individual. Hurt people hurt, and it's a cycle. So if we can empower the meek, the ones that don't want to fight back, but they maybe feel like they have no other option, that's what we get to do. We get to give them a tool where they can go to, they can let it all out. They can talk. Talking is healing. So to be able to release that energy and to have a tool that understands, empathizes, and listens, and then redirects them to a better mindset, and to remind them about how wonderful they are and how great they are and all of the wonderful things about them, and to tell them who they can go to, who the safe people in their lives are. They get to stop the cycle. So I used our Bully Buddy 3.0 that we're testing, and my daughters were fighting in the car on the drive to school the other day. And my younger daughter was very upset because my older daughter was picking on her. And so I used that as an example. And when I told Bully Buddy that she wanted to call her names back, Bully Buddy then redirected her to her own inner power. And it just showed me that we get to stop people from becoming bullies. We get to end the cycle by empowering that targeted individual.
So those are some of the coping mechanisms that you're teaching Bully Buddy. What other kinds of coping mechanisms, does Bully Buddy, teach children?
Right. Well, we definitely teach them to look inward, to recognize their strengths, to look around them at the supportive people in their life that they can turn to, but to always realize that they hold the power, and that, let's say we're talking about an adult who is in a situation that they feel like they can't get out of and they have become hopeless. Well, we now give them a documenting tool that will recognize the abuse, will call it by name, that will document it and timestamp it. And if they are dragged into a situation where they are made out to be someone that they're not, or they're made out to look like the bad guy, which happens often in bullying, they can then just simply present the evidence. And they don't have to fight back. They don't have to take in the abuse internally. They can recognize that person is operating from a place of weakness and they have no power over them anymore. So it's a tool to really empower the meek and the mild.
It's like having an angel on your shoulder.
Yeah.
I mean, one that you can actually talk to and it talks back. Oh my gosh, that's got to be very empowering and strengthening for these children, and teens really, especially getting on the social media and allowing so much of that to enter into their space. I just really wish we just had let's start having a moral compass, and let's start doing checkups on our moral compass. How about that? Check your moral compass and see how many lines have you crossed. And if you keep continuing to cross lines, you probably need to have bully buddy to talk to that's going to help you center yourself and make you realize you don't have to do that to be important. You're important all by yourself. You were fearlessly and wonderfully created, and there are gifts in you. You don't have to do that. Find that musical note that you hear when you're dreaming, or find that beautiful design in that painting that you like to do, or just the song that you want to write. You have something else in you other than hurting people that you have to go to school with or live next door to, or whether you know them or not. Like they used to always say, get a life, and do something else with your time. But bullying, it's not cute. Yeah, you go out there and you tape it and you put it on social media and you guys have laughs. But one thing I want to tell you, what goes around comes around. And it usually comes around 7 times worse. So you don't want to be going down those paths where you're just deliberately doing that. Anyway, I'm sorry. I just have passion for this. So how does Bully Buddy help prevent bullying from happening in the first place? Is there a way for that to happen?
Right. Well, I mean, it also holds people accountable. I think that's a huge thing that is really hard to do in bullying because it's not typically done where you can see it. So when the victim no longer feels like they have to fight back, they take themselves out of the situation and they can't be used anymore. So that bully's actions start to speak for themselves, and it's much more visible. And the targeted individual then lets natural consequences take place. And sometimes that's what needs to happen for people to learn their lesson is they need to let a higher power take over.
Right. And having that accountability, documented accountability. This is what you said to this person. Do you think it was the right thing to say? I mean, it's almost like maybe an angel, but how about a grandma? Yeah. It's like having me on your shoulder. You don't want me on your shoulder, do you? Because I am going to be in your face when you're out there doing these things. So just having that accountability do you know what you just did? And how would you feel if the same thing happened to you?
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not trying to make anyone feel ashamed or whatever. I'm wanting you to recognize behaviors do have consequences. And so, just like I said, having an angel on your shoulder to keep you on the right path and a grandma on the other shoulder when you just don't want to do right, she's going to tell you what's up. Hey, I'm your grandma. Stop it. Sorry. One of the things I was wondering, what kind of feedback have you received from children or parents or educators who are aware of Bully Buddy and used it? Can you share maybe some of those? I don't want you to expose anything confidential, but can you kind of give us a hint of what their feedback is?
Yeah. Ted, do you want to go?
Well, I think what comes to mind, Angela, is just as we've demoed this, we've really seen it bring people to tears. With just that when parents see the possibility here, and even experts in the field see the possibility and the empathy of the system, it's really brought them to tears because they've been exasperated looking for solutions. And
Mhm.
now Bully Buddy's here, and finally there's a place where their kid or they themselves can go and hear that they're not crazy and be
Mhm.
validated. There's a way for them to tell a story, today and tomorrow and the next day, and then for a pattern to be recognized so that
Mhm.
it's not just my side of the story versus your side of the story. It's clear to anybody objectively that there's a real pattern here and
Yeah.
that something needs to be done to stop the cycle. Um, we've put the system through some incredible testing, and I think I've probably been most impressed with how well the experts, because we were there for the interviews, we were there for the training, but
Mhm.
I've been blown away by um, how much of their expertise it comes through the system, and their empathy comes through, and their ability to redirect and remind somebody where their value is comes through. I was really nervous that would get lost in translation, and Angela, with your background in technology, garbage in, garbage
Mhm.
out. That's
Yes.
just unavoidable when it comes to technology. Well, in this case, it was expertise in and empathy in, and I think love and care into
Yeah.
the system. And those are the things that have come out of Bully Buddy. I think that's been most delightful.
Oh, that to me is just music to my ears. Like I said, I had those foster children, and they were behind in school. They had been through abuses and different things like that, and they didn't have maybe the best feelings about themselves. They didn't have, that strong confidence or things like that. But just with having a new place to be at and someone who would listen and someone who loved them and someone who said, I don't care what has happened in the past, or I don't care what others have told you. You are smart. You are capable. You are able. And I expect you to go for the gold. I expect it. And I want you to expect it. And I even had to catch them up so they graduated on time. They had to take extra credits. And I went in and talked to the teachers. I want you to give them extra classes because I want them graduating on time. I want you to know
Mm-hmm.
they all graduated,
Mm-hmm.
and two of them went to technical school,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all married and have families now. But
It's beautiful.
it was it was worth the fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth the fight to save a life. And that's what Bully Buddy's doing. He's saving lives. And I thank you. I thank you so much. Okay. What about because you mentioned that your daughter was autistic and some other do you have any problems or issues with autistic children interacting with Bully Buddy?
Well, I mean, no, but it's really going to be helpful for the neurodivergent population because they are oftentimes the target.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could go on and on about how complex communication is because it's such a spectrum of interpretations and perceptions and perspectives. And when it comes down to it, we all just need to try harder to understand one another and to ask questions when we don't understand one another and to communicate in a healthy way.
Right.
So the basis of Bully Buddy really is surrounded by how can we communicate with each other in respectful, healthy ways while respecting ourselves and being assertive and learning to be assertive, which is necessary in communicating with everyone in a healthy way.
Well, I had a guest on a few weeks back, Brain Charity from the United Kingdom, and they are a program that works specifically with divergency. And I'm going to have to get you in touch with them because that's all they do. They work with not only those that have been diagnosed with different, brain changes and things like that. There's people that get PTSD, that their brain's not functioning, or they've been in an accident. There are a lot of different, like you say, when they were on the show, they told me there's like over 600 different, things that can affect the brain, and to not be able to be treated the same just because of they work differently. I know of autistic kids. I've been around them. They're some of the smartest children when you get into your tech and your mathematics and things like that. And it's like, hey, now they could get AI to really work, and there's where they need to be. But we got to get employers to get to the point where they realize just turn the lights down a little bit. You'll have one of the best programs ever written. But it's a matter of just being kinder to one another. I mean, really being kind. But it's unfortunate these days people don't even think about kindness. The way read some of the social media. Like I said, I have grandchildren. I read some of the comments that they do back and forth. It's like, oh my goodness, what is this? And so, it's really, really, really important. How do you see Bully Buddy evolving in the future? I mean, are there any features or other things you're thinking about? Because I know with all kind of technology, this is version here, but there are going to be other versions. What are some of the other things that you're thinking about?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's endless. I think the first time Ted and I spoke, he goes, well, what do you want to start with? And I was like, oh, there's so many problems we can solve with this. We have partners with Boys and Girls Club. We have another mental health social media platform, Cadre, that we are in talks with. And there's several autistic programs that we are talking with. And really, it's just to build more versions to solve more problems. Mm-hmm. And we now have a replicatable process that we just need people. It's all about the people. It's all about the experts, and it's all about the people that need help. And I think we can do it fairly quickly, too, with Ted and Greg's help.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wonderful. What are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about using technology, specifically AI, to address bullying issues.
Ted, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I think what comes to mind is, most people's experiences with AI is, with chat GPT or with these large language models. And I think they've witnessed, they've been blown away maybe on one hand by the power and the ability there, but they pretty quickly realize or find an experience where there's hallucination, where the AI is just couldn't be more wrong, and it's almost comical. Um, and we talked about this earlier, but I think that's one of the things that right away we had to address and take a totally different path to training models and to architecting the models that we have, where the experts would set the rules, and those rules would be hard coded, and there wouldn't be room for hallucination. So I think that's one of the challenges that we're dealing with. I think the other challenge is most people, when they encounter AI, it's sort of like this chat experience where you ask AI a question, AI comes back with an answer, and you can kind of do that back and forth for a period of time. But at some stage, you really need a workflow alongside that helps you to say, okay, these are the next steps, and this is a path you can take. And you need, like in this case, what we call this application awareness. The AI needs to be aware and live within an application so that the application can do things that are super important, like provide security, like make sure that that things are recorded so that they can later be reported. Some of the functionality that applications bring to the table out around the AI. So I think those are some of the things that we've seen as some of the challenges with technology.
So because we will be ending soon, I want you to let our listeners know how to connect with Bully Buddy and your team.
You can find me on LinkedIn often. I've met some really amazing people like Ted and Greg, but you can also go to bullyBuddyAI.com and glee-labs.com for more. I mean, Ted and Greg through Glee Labs, it's not just Bully Buddy. They're helping others solve big problems and using AI. So it's really exciting.
What is one thing you want listeners to take away from this conversation about Bully Buddy and the fight against bullying? What would you, if it was just one specific thing? I know it's hard to narrow it down.
I mean, the power is within you. You have the power over if you respond, how you respond. You have the power to remember that it's not you, it's them. And that is how you can not get sucked in, how you can stay out of their trap, to just remember your light.
Yes. And what advice would you give to someone who is being bullied right now? And what advice would you give to someone witnessing bullying happening? They're usually not alone. They've got a group with them.
Yeah. No, I think that's one of the hardest parts because it's such an isolating thing. It really makes someone feel like they're on an island. It makes them question their reality. So if you see it happening, don't participate. just don't listen to the person. Don't participate, and see how you can offer support and help to the person you see being targeted. I think it's way easier for people to walk away because when you stand up to a bully, there's typically reactions directed at you and more negative consequences for the targeted individual. So to not participate in the bullying at all, I mean, by watching it and not doing anything, that is participating. So you really need to walk away, and you need to support those who need to be supported by finding something healthy to do, finding something that makes you feel good, finding something that is good for everyone, but not participating in the negativity.
Yeah, absolutely. And finding something doesn't mean you always have to have something that costs a lot of money or different things like that. There's so much creativity within us. We can create new things instead of, you know, it's got to be something that costs some money. It's got to be the parents got to buy this, they got to buy that, they got to, because material things, when it all boils down, really doesn't make people happy. Look at some of the rich; they are the most unhappy people I've ever seen in my life. Yes, they can go wherever they want to go, buy whatever they want to buy, and they're still unhappy. Okay, since money is not making you happy, let me give you a little advice. How about sharing it with people in need? And that will bring you more joy than you can ever, 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 ever imagine. It's more to it than just seeing if you can be the richest. Who cares? You got to understand there's more things important, and that's humanity as a whole. We are all on this planet together, and we need to do better in getting along and talking to one another. And yes, we shouldn't have people participating in bullying and standing around, in a circle and different things like that. I just, it's gotten a lot worse since when I was a child. But like you said, you try to stop someone who probably has been bullied. They need to get this energy out or whatever, but they need to get the bully buddy and get some conversations and go from there. Do any of the people that might be using bully buddy, if it gets to the point where the person is talking to, they can see that they're escalating, is there a trigger or something that can be added, maybe version number 5, that sends an alert so a human can actually, be a part of it?
Yeah. It definitely redirects people to, we're people centric. So it's programmed to recognize the red flags, and then direct them straight to the appropriate source to help that person. So, the prevention of what can happen when people don't have support is in place, which is really important. Ted, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, no, I think you covered it, but I think that was one of the things we were super sensitive to, as you can imagine, Angela, is just, certain circumstances, certain red flags really require bully buddy to stop and say, you need to bring this to a trusted adult now. And, we were quick to make sure that would be the case. The primary expert for the system is this gentleman named Dustin Dean. And there's so many brilliant things that he brought to the table. But he was also very quick to say, this is something that we need to bring to, a real person as soon as possible. And so we try to draw that line where bully buddy's there from an educational perspective, but bully buddy's not a therapist. And
Right.
And they're when things are serious, you need help from a trusted adult or a trusted professional.
Great. Wow, this has just been wonderful. Well, I tell you, I'm really grateful that the two of you were able to join on this day. And I know those that are watching and listening have been impacted, and call Bully Buddy if you know your child is being bullied or doing the bullying, and, get the help so they can have very happy, joyful, productive lives. This is A Sharp Outlook, and I'm Angela Sharp. I thank you for joining us today because this has been very special. And I know you all have been impacted. And as always, I want you to be knowing what's going on, get information on Bully Buddy, and stay informed. I want to thank you for joining us on A Sharp Outlook. We have been informed and energized to take the next steps. We have posted links to websites and videos to learn more on today's topic. Please join us again next week for another thought-provoking conversation right here on K4 HD Radio and Talk 4 TV. Listen to the podcast on all the podcast apps. And until next week, stay informed.